It's complicated.
Sneeko, before I ask you about you, is there anything you'd like to know about me?
That's a good question.
It's complicated.
It's Fuck, I just did the thing that happened in the video. That's how good of an interviewer you are. What red pill do you? Fuck, I can't. That wasn't even a joke. I genuinely said
What
this.
red pill me? There was a documentary called The Red Pill.
Yep, which I watched.
So I watched The Red Pill, and I think the Red Pill's goal, as in the title, is to red pill you. So I would say also just there were times where I would pretty much just go out and have experiences, and then I'd say, wait a second, like all these women say they want this type of guy, and I'm like, you want a good guy? Would you even know a good guy if he even fell on your lap?
Do you think that it happened later in life, or was getting red pilled something that you saw early on?
I would say kind of like some of the earliest things that I heard about female nature. I used to listen to the Tom Likas show on the way back when I was in film school. I would pretty much, uh, drive home from college, and I'd be stuck in LA traffic for about 2 hours, and I'd listen to this man called Tom Likas, and he would just talk about women's obsession with money, and it was just way too honest. And he'd even have people call into his show and ask him, or just call up and just give him like hate comments, or he'd respond to his haters pretty much, kind of like the way Kevin Samuels would respond to the smoke shows and things like that. If you are familiar with,
Yeah.
it's funny how you asked me about Red Pill. Sneeko, how did you discover Red Pill?
It was back in high school, probably. I used to read the Red Pill subreddit, which got taken down. It's funny that everybody who starts to wake up to this, to the agenda of how we're supposed to keep control compliant and constantly spending on shit that doesn't matter to make a specific group of people richer. I was realizing a lot of this stuff when I was going through puberty, when I was a teenager. And I think what could red pill people quickly is understanding that everything follows the money. So anything that you see in the news or anything that people are getting hyped about, any mob mentality, there's somebody getting rich off of it. And we're on YouTube, so I can't be too specific about some things that have got me deplatformed off of YouTube. But if there's a huge outrage, there's mobs of people screaming about one specific thing, you have to do this. Always think someone is getting rich off of it. And I think I understood that at a young age. And what really opened my mind to this was the Red Pill subreddit. And of course, they took that down. They took down the Donald Trump subreddit. And even I read this book called The Game by Neil Strauss. I'm sure you read that book too, right? He was a victim of cancel culture as well. They called him a misogynist. In the news, they said he was a bad person. And that was even before the internet. So just really wanting to figure out how to pick up girls and how to talk to women, because I used to be extremely afraid of talking to girls. I think like most guys could relate to that if we don't talk about it. It used to freak me out, and I was just looking for advice online because there was nobody giving me good advice in my real life. They told me to be a gentleman, buy flowers, take her on a date, do the Disney movie romantic shit, and it didn't work. I would get walked all over, and I would notice, like, look at me trying to be a romantic, like I'm giving all my attention, like picking up the phone, talking to this girl back in 5th grade. Like, I would pick up the phone call for a girl that I had a crush on when she was crying about her actual boyfriend. And so I'm listening on the phone like, yeah, one day she'll see that I'm the nice guy and that I really care about her. And it doesn't work. And actually, that was probably one of the first instances that red pilled me. It's like the guy that's treating her like shit is getting all the attention, all the emotion, and I'm over here off to the side giving her all my love and affection, and it's not being reciprocated at all. So even back in the playground, you can realize how women are just attracted to people that don't need them. And nobody will tell you that because it sounds cold-hearted, and even saying that will make women look materialistic or make women seem shallow. So you're not supposed to talk about that, but inherently that's the basis of attraction. You are attracted to something that doesn't need you.
You want what you can't have.
You want what you can't have.
It's funny because I was going to ask you, was there ever a time you struggled with women and dating, and you just answered it? So
I still do. Dating is hard, and I think everybody struggles with it. And I think right now the main struggle is trying to balance, like, how much of myself do I protect and how independent do I stay to not be vulnerable or not get fucked over, and then how much do I allow myself to be open and to learn about someone else and to follow the Disney movie love stuff that the red pill doesn't really talk about, because I think a lot of people think that in the red pill space that love isn't real, but at the same time I don't believe that people don't crave it or don't yearn for it. So it's the balance of finding about how much you can be in your masculine frame and how much you can open up and connect with somebody.
Has the fact that you've become, a more recognizable person, maybe, increased your status, has that actually helped or hurt your?
I think it hurt. I think I was getting more women back in college when I wasn't really known, and I just mostly had just a reputation for being like the cool party guy, or I was out and I had good networking. I talked to a lot of people, all the stuff that you need in the business world. I was like that at college. I was like, oh yeah, who's that guy? And then once I started to get more famous and recognizable, you get more expectations of you, and then most of your life is out there in public, and then people can message people or they have different, or a lot of the time the women will think that you're getting all these women because you're famous, and so they're like, I'm not one of those easy girls, and that's something everybody hears, but that has multiplied times 10 since becoming famous. Like, oh, you think I'm just one of those groupies? Like, I'm like, oh, well, just okay. And then you got to fight way more layers of that. Oh, you think I'm that easy? And like, okay, all right, here we go. And then I just get kind of aggravated and don't feel like wasting my time. Ultimately, I think it's more about character than anything with women. I think that surface level stuff that can get you in the door, of course, having the blue check on Instagram or being in the right spaces. Like right here, I'm in Vegas right now, and I'm going to party with the Nelk boys. So obviously I'm going to have access to a lot of women that most guys will never just be able to be around. But in order to get the clothes or to go from that to where you really want to go, I think a lot of the time it really is about character. I don't think that girls are fucking for a Birkin bag like they are. I think that's something that's perpetuated in music a lot of time, but in my experience, I haven't dealt with a lot of these shallow women to that extent.
Do you think you have a harder time making friends, or like knowing who your real friends are, or trusting people?
Yeah, I've made that realization, and I'm actually having flashbacks. The last time I was in Vegas, I was assuming that a lot of the people that I was around, like fellow content creators, stuff like that, were people that I could trust. But in this game, everybody is trying to climb. Everybody, especially people who have chronically been online for years and years and years, they value clout and attention more than most people will really know. So, of course, you have to be really careful about who you spend your time with and who you trust, especially in this red pill space, which is actively being silenced so much and which is being attacked by so much. The media hates us. The feminists hates. They all hate us. Big tech, the government. I've been profiled by so many different types of people. So at this point, you have to move cautious. It's not just making videos on YouTube anymore. It's a different ball game completely. And now this message is getting involved in politics. And I'm telling anybody watching this, it's going to grow so much. And people who are considered in this space are really threatening the powers that be. And so you're going to see they're going to have to get craftier in their ways to silence us, because it's getting harder to lie.
Why do you think you got canceled?
I got canceled for telling the truth. I got canceled for, I don't like how people are saying, you didn't actually get canceled, you just broke the terms of service. They wiped me off of 4 different social media platforms in the same week. Twitch, nobody can give me a valid reason for that. YouTube, I understand I got terminated for 3 strikes, but if you look at what the 3 strikes were, COVID misinformation, election misinformation, and cyberbullying. Actually, the 3rd strike was for It's Complicated reaction video. When I went that was considered cyberbullying. So it's just pretty, you could see the obvious double standards, how girls all day long will say that men are trash, will say that I'm a piece of shit, they can like wish death on me, and then that's not considered hate speech. That's not taken down. People have made documentaries saying they hate me and like all the stuff about my family. It's not hate speech. Even though saying I hate Sneako is not hate speech. But if I go making fun of eyelashes, that's cyberbullying. But in the same video, the girls will say like, I don't need a man, men ain't shit, I'll step on you, I'm a girl boss, I'm better, men should die. Like they can have kill all men podcasts. A girl will literally say, kill all men in a podcast. Fine, keep it up. But the hypocrisy to say that I need to be taken down for cyberbullying, for making a stupid noise about eyelashes, and COVID misinformation, election misinformation, which is, I think, what the analogy of the red pill really is. I think it's bigger than just women and relationships. I think it's getting down to the truth that they are trying to control us. And these are all the methods. These are all the ways. And this is how you could see it in when you walk outside, you could see right in front of your face how we're being controlled. All these girls think they're 10s and they don't know why. They think that they're better than men and they don't know why. They're saying they're feminists and they're oppressed and they don't know why. You can see the NPCs, just talk to them. They're walking around programmed with a bunch of nonsense. But I got canceled for exposing a lot of the truths about the world.
Do you think you went too far?
No, and I don't regret anything I said. And in a sense, I'm glad that this happened because I just needed a new challenge. It was getting to the point, and like you saw, when I was really getting the growth, a big credit to its complicated channel. It would not have happened without this channel, without reacting to this type of content. I was able to amplify, because your videos, you're not really on camera. It's more monotone. You're letting the interviews speak for themselves. But then me, I needed to go yell at people because they're not going to go watch the video without being yelled at. So I got it for short form, and it was just getting too easy at a certain point. I was growing so fast. You saw the growth too after that TikTok thing. Everything exploded. Everything people were talking about everywhere. Sneako has hashtag Sneako on TikTok has 5 billion views plus in the span of a couple months. So I think I just needed a new challenge. And no, I didn't take it too far. Obviously, it would be nice to have this major platform so that we could wake more, or I could wake more people up. But I'm just gonna have to work harder and smarter.
How has your life changed since the cancellation?
It's improved. People are like, some people speculate that like I'm going broke and I have to get a real job, but there's some things I can't talk about. Tomorrow, for instance, I am accomplishing one of my childhood dreams, and when you find out what's happening, or the connections that I've made since risking it all to tell the truth have been way more valuable than a couple $100,000 AdSense dollars. So my life has changed, that there's more doors, there's more connections that I'm making, and I've actually garnered more respect from a lot of the people that I look up to, because they see that I'm not in this for clout or for money or for personal gain. Like, I really genuinely care about getting the truth out there. That's my life's mission. So it's changed in a lot of ways too, where I have to be more calculated and I have to play chess against the world now. Not only against the haters or the feminists or the program people, but the government and big tech. You need to start playing more strategically so that you can last as long as possible. And I feel like I've gotten a lot smarter. When I started reacting to your videos back in the summer, I feel like I've matured and I've grown like 5 years in the span of 6 months. The stuff that I know now, the people that I'm talking to, how I'm able to articulate my message and everything, I've improved drastically more in those past 6 months of live streaming and of figuring out what's going on behind the scenes than I did in the past 3 years.
How did you discover my channel?
I don't remember. I remember watching it when I was just starting to live stream, and I don't remember. I think I just found it on the YouTube homepage, and I remember telling my friend Rhino from Let Live Serve, and he's kind of red-pilled. I remember telling him, like, yo, there's this really good street interview channel that's just gold to read. He's like, that guy from Vegas is complicated? I'm like, yes. His interviews are exposing people. They don't even see what's happening. They are saying all this bullshit on camera, and he's just getting him with a couple questions. I've never seen this before. And then he's like, yeah, that's... And then just kept watching. I've seen every single video on your channel. I've done a reaction to every single one. Some days I'll just look and I'll dig and look to sort by the oldest back in 2018, 2019, just looking for something, because it's just so much fun to watch.
And sometimes I'll admit, because I've watched them so many times, I love watching you watch my channel, because you'll bring it to another level, and so that's kind of a thrill for me. I'll admit that. Where do you hope to see yourself in 5 years, both professionally and personally?
Personally, I think starting a family within 5 years, but I am 24, and when I was 19, I wanted kids by now, so who knows? By the time I get to 29, maybe I wouldn't want to have kids anymore. But ideally, maybe starting a family. And then professionally, I want to get into the political space more. I want to continue having these debates and conversations, and I want to continue talking to the people that I have been talking to and making connections there, because my motto is seek truth through funny. The most effective way that I've learned is talking to funny people and realizing things that it's funny because it's true. That's why like I love your channel, is because when you get to be like, well, I've never thought about that before. It's like it's really funny because they haven't. I always attain the idea that you can seek truth through funny. The funniest thing brings everybody's ego down. When I could laugh at girls for their eyelashes or for the fact that they're all tens, you're lowering their self-esteem, you're popping it, and you're bringing, it's humbling. That's what stand-up comedy is in a room full of people. The truth is decided by what makes the crowd laugh the most. And I think that I can bring this idea to empower a lot of people. I don't want to become a politician, but I wanted to talk to people, and I want to connect with people through comedy and through funny. And I see the power that it has, and how I've learned from guys like Patrice O'Neal or Dave Chappelle or those Louis C.K., George Carlin have made me thought and have really implemented ideas in my head, like, and have given me life philosophies that I would never have received without comedy. And I think it's a very powerful tool.
I've often said that you're probably going to get more truth from a stand-up comedian than from a news anchor.
Of course. They're full of shit. They're standing there. They don't know how to be funny. And whenever they have a stand-up comedian on a news show, they malfunction because they don't know what to do. Some guy is being genuine, being himself, and they're reciting the same things. You could watch news compilations where they say, terrible tragedy, a child, and they'll just play 20 different news stations all saying the same exact script. They're just robotic. When somebody's being real, it doesn't care, relax, or being themselves. It's just, the contrast is hilarious.
And when you laugh, it's kind of an admission of truth.
Yes, because it's coming from your gut, not up here all wired up. Well, that's the weather's good today. Like, laughing is just our natural state. It's calming.
Is chivalry a characteristic of an alpha or beta male, and why?
I think chivalry is a bunch of bullshit. And women use that to expect, oh, yeah, you're not chivalrous. Like, I don't even know you, and she expects me to pay for the date and open up the door. It's like she hasn't done anything to earn that, and I just have to walk on this side of the road so that a car hits me and not her, and I got to lay down my coat on a puddle so that she's it's a bunch of nonsense. You should only be chivalrous to a woman that deserves it. Women shouldn't just demand respect for being women.
Is chivalry sexist?
Yes.
Is there a female version of chivalry?
No.
Aren't men expected to be chivalrous in platonic relationships, while women are expected to be chivalrous in intimate relationships?
Right. Men are expected to give away respect at all times just because a woman exists, when a woman is only going to be nice and have gestures for a guy that she's given a box to.
So aren't men expected to be chivalrous on a grander scale?
Yeah, all the time. It's difficult, yeah.
What's the difference between a woman rating herself a 10 and a guy calling himself an alpha male?
Both should get you punched in the face, but you can only punch one for saying that. And that's the difference, because if a guy says, I'm an alpha male, you'll get checked probably in an hour. Someone's going to be like, shut the punch you in the... But the difference is you can't touch women, and we don't tell women the truth. So then they say... delusion, I'm a 10, I'm an alpha, and then they just go about their day. I'm a 10, and nobody checks them. So we have a bunch of delusional alpha males walking out there with stickers on their eyelashes, weaves, and Kim Kardashian on her phone, and it's the same. Imagine if you walked out in Vegas and it was just a bunch of guys, I'm an alpha male, and everyone believed that, and then society would crumble. That's what's happening with women.
If women only want to date alpha males, why haven't all the beta males gone extinct?
A lot of women have to settle. A lot of women don't have that option. And also, not all women are beautiful or intelligent or charming enough to be with the guy that they want to be with. And so they make up excuses, or eventually they settle. But I think we're seeing less families being started because all women think that they deserve that alpha male, and they don't want to settle.
If men only want to sleep with beautiful women, why haven't all the ugly women gone extinct?
Sometimes God says you got to be ugly. ugly people popping out there. There's beautiful couples with ugly ass kids. I don't know. That's God's fault.
Who do you think is more delusional? The average woman holding out for the rich alpha male, or the average man holding out for the lingerie model?
The woman, because the woman doesn't know how to improve herself, and she ultimately is limited to how much she can improve herself to deserve that man. But a man, no matter what you look like, you can improve yourself to get to that point where you can have 1,000 lingerie women. If you become funnier, you get that status, you get the money, then they will be drawn to you. But, you know, at a certain point, a woman is just, you just got to settle.
Who is more likely to care what society thinks, men or women?
Men.
Who is more likely to follow trends?
Women.
Why would women care what society thinks if we're living in a world that oppresses them?
Why would women care what society thinks if we're in a world that oppresses them?
Or that they perceive oppresses them?
I don't understand the correlation.
Basically, what my intention behind that was is that if women are more likely to follow trends, but then they think society is trying to like, I'm almost wondering is that why a lot of these feminists cut their hair and they kind of like reject femininity
Right.
or something like that? Like it's
Because they don't want to get boxed in.
It's a rebellion or something like that. I think against the standards and placed upon them in society.
Yes, they're rejecting the natural norm, saying I don't need to fuck your societal standards. I don't want to do it, so I'm just going to reject it, and that's going to be my whole personality. But we both care what society thinks. Men and women equally care about what society thinks of them, but it's just different. Men, you have to earn it, and women, it's more physical. It's what you look like. That's why they spend 2 hours getting ready, and they're always late to a date because they're in the mirror thinking about how good am I going to look. Where a man, it's like you step outside, it's more about how you present yourself, your body language, if you're standing tall, if you're holding your frame. It's more about what they think you're thinking. We don't really think about you just look at a woman and that's who she is. That's how she's presenting herself to the world.
What I think is interesting, though, also is about, in the attempt to be rebellious, they're almost like conforming to the
Right.
new standard, and
Exactly.
they're almost becoming what they're supposedly going against.
Yes.
And now it's almost like the traditional conservative woman is
rebelling. Yes,
is rebelling.
Being a natural girly girl in her feminine state is rebelling because feminism has taught women that they need to reject the patriarchy to be empowered. So they think that they're rebelling by cutting their hair short with the bangs, that straight bang here, getting the septum witch nose ear piercing, astrology, getting the tattoos, dyeing it pink every other week. They think like this is how I'm being different, and then all of them are the same. You have your gender pronouns in your bio, and you're just she, they.
Bots,
and that's what it is, and they don't realize it because that's how ironic it is that they think that they're rejecting the norm when they're really just doing exactly what they're supposed to do.
they're reinforcing it.
Bots.
Why do so many women have nose rings, claw fingernails, and fake eyelashes?
Because the devil runs the world. They don't even see that how this is demonic behavior, believing in stars, getting these witchcraft nose things. They're dressing up as witches. They think that they have crystals and I'm manifesting my crystal. They're like casting spells on each other. They're filling themselves up with birth control every single day, fucking with their hormones. They're yelling their abortions. They are literally empowering themselves with demonic behavior. And they think that it makes them woke. It makes them, you're a witch.
Are women the problem, or are the people influencing the women the problem?
The people influencing the women. And this is what happened with me in the past couple months. I think a lot of people saw me go through the red pill rage arc, especially when I was reacting to your videos. I was like screaming at the mic and I was like freaking out. It makes great content. It's entertaining. And I was on Fresh and Fit and just really upset. When you get red pilled, for the guys who aren't watching, when you get red pilled, you will be filled with rage. A lot of you. And that's why a lot of you will attack people like me instead of attack the people that are controlling you right now, because you don't want to believe that this system is against you, that it works against you, and that it's all a scam. So instead of trying to figure out, okay, why is everybody brainwashed? It's so that we're controlled and that we are constantly spending and we're unhappy while they get all the riches of the world. You don't want to question that system, so it's easier to attack the messenger, which is me. So trust me, the red pill is the truth. We're telling you the truth. It's not the woman's fault. When you go through that red pill rage, you will want to blame women. And I saw it in my chat, in my stream chat a lot. I saw it from a lot of these people, and I understand that feeling because you're upset, but it's not their fault that they're programmed. We have been raised to have a phone in our hand. We've been raised on these shows, on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. We've been plugged in with all these advertisements, and we've been told, and ever since birth, we're conditioned to be slaves to the system. So it's not the woman's fault. She's as programmed as most of the guys watching this right now. Blame the people who are using women to keep us down, who are brainwashing women with feminism and making them feel like they need to be empowered and they need to take the power away from a man. Blame the people who conditioned them to think that. Who came up with feminism? Who decided that we should go push this to these girls? Get mad at them, not the women.
Would you say that the majority of women are followers or leaders by nature?
Followers. They're incapable of leading. They can't lead.
If women are followers by nature, why are so many of them unwilling to submit to a man's leadership?
Because they are power tripping right now. We're living in a very ego-filled world because of social media where everybody feels the need to show off how important or how different they are. That's why they announce, I'm quitting social media on social media. It's all this big ego statement at all times. And they've been tricked and they think that submitting to a man is giving up her power. And so they want to look and act like a girl and also have the power of a man at the same time because they can't let go of their ego, that they just want to be a feminine girl because they think that being a feminine girl is being oppressed. That's not being oppressed. That's being happy.
Do you think men care more about women's looks, or do you think women care more about women's looks?
I think women care more about women's looks. They analyze things like the Birkin. I can give a fuck about a Birkin bag. I never look at your nails. I don't care. Like if your toes are all like out, maybe. But like when we're out, I don't like clock that girl's nails just got done. I don't think about it. It's subconscious. The only thing I really look at is the eyelashes, and that's because your interviews with a giant light right there, and they're like the proud delusion on their face. But ultimately, women will judge each other way more on their looks. They're looking at the contour, the makeup, everything is meticulous, and it's just like if you look good, you look good.
So aren't women conditioned by other women to look a certain way?
Yes and no. See, they do that in a social dynamic, but behind the scenes, the people that run the beauty standards are like weird men who are kind of fruity, and it's a weird group of people behind the scenes who are controlling the beauty standards and telling you what to buy. Also, down the rope, all the way down the rabbit hole, it's a bunch of dudes.
Do you think the same is true for men? Are men conditioned by other men to look a certain way?
It's both. It's men and women because, like, yes, men are supposed to be tall and in good shape and not fat, but then also if men judge each other too much from other men, then they end up in a bodybuilding competition where they're oiling themselves up and posing in a thong next to each other, and women don't find that attractive at all. So it's both, but men care more about how a woman perceives them than a man does, whereas women actually will dress up and go out thinking about how other women are going to judge her. And a lot of time, the picture that they post on Instagram, I've realized that yes, it's for male attention, but a lot of it is to compete with the other women on Instagram to get that right guy's attention.
Who cares more about masculinity, men or women?
It's pretty equal. It's pretty equal, but we just express it in different ways. But ultimately, women, it's very subtle. So men, we will discuss it and talk about it more, but we do it because we know how much women value that. And even these woke girls, these woke women who say that they're LGBT plus and everything like that, as soon as they find an angle to test your masculinity, you're gay. Oh, what are you, gay? And that's their way of testing your masculinity. And that shit hurts way more than a guy calling you gay is a joke. But when a woman says that, she's saying, you're kind of a bitch. Act right.
Why does the manosphere spend so much time focusing on masculinity rather than misandry?
Because we don't want to do what women are doing. women in that, and on the inverse, women in that space, they'll just complain about how oppressed they are. They'll talk about feminism, how they need to get back at men, and they need to take the back, kill all men. Men are trash. That's the ideologies that run the womanosphere movement. Whereas men, we just want to look towards the future. What can we do? What's the better use of our time? Complaining about these women making no sense, wanting to kill us all, or improving yourself and just finding the right woman? Because I don't want to waste my time with a bunch of delusional women who want to kill me or think that I'm trash, or like are going to use the condom in the trash and shove it up there to have a kid. That's why Drake has to put the hot sauce in the condom. I don't want to deal with that. I'm not going to go like invest energy and waste it to these women who don't deserve my time. I'm thinking about the future. These women, just, that's not for me.
Why does the manosphere spend so much time on self-improvement and men grooming themselves to please toxic women that just want to use them and bring nothing to the table?
It's recognizing which women are for recreational use and which women are there to be wives. And it's indulging in hedonism, ultimately. It's a waste of time. It's dealing with hoes and OnlyFans girls who make no sense and learning how to spit game so that you can f them for one night and never talk to them again. Yes, it will make you feel good in the moment, like boost your ego, stuff like that. It makes you feel good. The sex can be good or whatever, but ultimately it's a giant waste of time, because the point of sex is to have a family, is to have a connection, is to have children. That's the point. That's why God designed sex. So indulging in hedonistic behavior, like if I brought a girl from wherever the party to this hotel afterwards, I never want to see her again, and I need to trick her into thinking that she's going to have a future with me when she's ultimately never going to be spoken to again by me. It's a waste of time, and a lot of it is just indulging in hedonistic behavior for any reason. A lot of maybe they didn't get it in the past. Maybe they are trying to inflate their own ego. But men eventually realize that it's just wasting your energy, your money, everything.
Why is the man's gender role more demanding than the woman's was, is, or ever will be?
Because we have to lead. And the world can't be led by feminine men, but the world is still spinning with a bunch of masculine women.
It's been said that men have a burden of performance that women don't. Who assigns them that burden, and isn't that the problem right there?
Yeah, women assign that burden, but that's just their nature. That's biology, is women are supposed to check men so that we have to be stronger. They push us to be stronger because they need to be provided for. But they don't realize that. They act this way, and when they're upset, a lot of time when your girl's crying or she's expecting, or like, I'm fine, and she's waiting for you to do something that she thinks you're supposed to be doing. And a lot of guys don't know that, but women are constantly testing you, and it's not even a conscious decision. It's just their nature. It's like this for every animal species. She expects you to lead and provide for her, and if she's crying and she doesn't know why, or she's mad at you, or like, you ever been, guys in the comment section, you ever been in the car with your girl and then she's just mad for no reason, and she's no, what do you mean? And then you find out later that it's because the window was rolled down and her hair was blowing in the wind, or like she was cold and you didn't figure it out, you didn't mind read how cold she was. That's women always trying to keep us on point in her but she's not constantly teasing, she's not constantly trying to manipulate you and make you go insane. It's just the way she is, and it's not her fault. And that shit makes you, a lot of guys will make you go fucking nuts. Like, this stupid, just tell me that you're cold. No, but you should know. It's hard though. It's hard to pick up on female nature. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of talking to a lot of women. You need to get your heart broken. You need to learn that simp culture is perpetuated by Disney movies and social media garbage. Once you go through that heartbreak, and also what you need to deal with is, like, once you go through that, you know what women will say? Who hurt you? Someone hurt you in the past, right? You just got f***ed over. You couldn't get pussy. Those are all shit tests, and you just have to understand female nature. And a lot of guys will fold, and a lot of guys, well, no one hurt me. Understand female nature, and it's hard to get to that point. Trust me, it's gonna be some pain.
Just gotta bob and weave.
Bob and weave, all the allegations, exactly.
What is the difference between confidence and arrogance?
Confidence is knowing you have the ability, and that's why you don't. Confidence is being able to avoid shit tests because you have the ability. Arrogance is avoiding shit tests and not having any ability. So just blindly walking around thinking that you can't be tested when you very clearly can. Confidence is knowing that you can pass those tests.
What are the characteristics of an arrogant person?
The tens with eyelashes, the girl boss feminists with the weave thinking that they deserve a millionaire for doing nothing. It's arrogant.
What are the signs of a confident man?
A guy who knows that a woman is thinking that and knows how to feed her the lies she wants to hear.
Why is confidence sexy?
Because you need to be confident to lead, and women are followers, and they need a leader, and you can't be a leader if you're not confident. If you have no ability, you have nothing to back up what you're talking about, then where are we gonna go?
Is confidence something every man can have?
No,
Where does confidence come from?
you have to earn it. It comes through trial and error, comes through failure, it comes through hard work and perseverance, all that stuff that makes you who you are.
Can you have confidence without competence?
No.
Isn't confidence without competence the definition of delusional?
Which is all these women walking around. All the feminists are just confident without any competence. Yeah.
What is the difference between having goals and being delusional?
Goals have to be realistic and attainable. But even, see, tomorrow I'm accomplishing one of my childhood dreams that back then people might call delusional. But it's delusional until it's true. The difference is a lot of these girls are delusional and they have no plan or they have no strategy to reach their goals. And they just expect and manifest and rub a crystal and think that it's going to fall in their lap without doing any of the work.
What's the difference between being humble and being insecure?
Insecure people lash out a lot of time. A lot of the loudest and angriest people are insecure and they're using that as a defense mechanism. Whereas humble people never feel the need to raise their voice in that circumstance.
What's more attractive, confidence or humbleness? Or humility, I guess, yeah.
I don't know if the two are mutually exclusive. I think you can be confident and humble at the same time. Yeah, it takes a confident person to understand what they can and can't do.
What was the most humbling life event you've ever had?
Dropping out of college and making around like $2,000 a month, living in a college house with a bunch of people while I wasn't in college, and having to figure it out. Just having my little YouTube channel, try to every week just posting a video and then it's up, and then I have nothing else planned. Like, what's next? How am I going to pay rent? How am I going to justify leaving the matrix, leaving this system that everybody else is following to pursue a dream that some people are calling me delusional for? People are saying that it's unrealistic. There's no blueprint for doing content creation and leaving everything and alienating your family, stuff like that, to pursue your dreams. That was humbling. Like, I got nothing. What am I going to do? All I got is my brain. I got a camera. I got a mic. What's next?
Why do so many people talk about the way things ought to be rather than how things really are?
Reality is harsh. The truth hurts. The truth is painful, and people don't like. There's a lot of pain that people deal with all the time anyway, so they don't want to go keep thinking about reality. They'd rather live in a made-up world in their head. And the truth hurts. It's really painful to figure out what's happening.
How do you know the difference between what you feel and what you know?
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't have that intuition, and you can get humbled quickly if you follow what you feel too much. I guess there's no real way to differentiate that. It's just some people are smarter than others. I think it really comes down to intelligence.
Is there a difference between my truth and the truth?
Yes, my truth is delusion, and the truth is reality.
Isn't my truth your subjective perception of the world, and the truth is an objectifiably verifiable description of a situation?
Yes. My truth? No, it's my truth. Well, all opinions are valid. No, most opinions are stupid. Your opinion could be wrong. Some people have never been checked on that. No, stop. You're dumb. Some people need to just be told you're dumb.
Do you think we would become a better society if people learned to be more sensitive or more thick-skinned?
If we learn to be more thick-skinned, but it's tough. We're in a transition phase because we have never been more aware of our own existence. We have never had to put up an image of ourselves online so much. We have never heard this much feedback about what we look like. We've never communicated with this many people. We have never had to confront reality this much while also reality is being manipulated this much. So it's a transitional period where we need to figure out how to talk to this many people and be judged so much while also not taking an ego hit.
Is it possible to be both, or are they a contradiction?
To be thick-skinned and
Sensitive.
no, there's both. They don't contradict each other. There's just a time and place for both.
Do you have any advice for men out there who are struggling or maybe want to improve themselves, or just feel like there's no hope out there?
Use that energy to make yourself better. There's many ways to make yourself better, but use that pain. Don't wallow in it. Don't believe in depression. It's all a lie. There's nothing wrong with your brain. Just use that pain and turn it into champagne. That's the best way. If you can direct your energy towards something positive, that's the best use of your time. Time is money, and you need to do it right now. The sooner you start, the better it is. I know you've heard all this motivational garbage before, but that's genuinely what you have to do. Don't direct your energy on the internet. Don't waste your time leaving mean comments. Don't waste your time doing essays about other. Don't waste your time investing in bullshit that a lot of people direct their energy towards.
I'll also say that I've heard the expression, no matter how hard life gets, there's always someone who would kill to be in your shoes.
Exactly. Your life is probably not as hard as you think it is, and you're justifying your failures with mental health.
Where do you hope to see the Manosphere in 5 years?
Back on YouTube, hopefully. Actually, no, forget it. I want it to take over on Rumble. Follow me on Rumble, rumble.com/Sneako. I think that you should copy and paste your channel there as well. They're going to come for you soon. I know they're demonetizing your videos, maybe giving you strikes. So anybody who's talking about this is going to get deplatformed eventually. And I hope that Rumble takes over, and that's the new start of free speech.